What's up, everyone? New audio. It's awesome. Took me a second. For some reason, they didn't pair. But it's Friday morning. Waiting for Jesse and Dave to get here to do a little work on their 460. But while I'm waiting on them to get here, I went and pulled the pitman arm off and broke the box free. Pitman arm pretty much fell off. I had to use the puller, but like a couple taps of a hammer and it came off, which is crazy for a 1986 Toyota. So that's done. Let me show you what I did yesterday, though. I didn't do any video of it. I just had a couple minutes to do this. Ordered some tires. 35, 1250, 17 Mickey Thompson MT Baja Bosses or Baja Boss MTs with method wheels. All right, explain why. Big BFG people, big Firestone people, but even with the discounts we have, the reviews on these Mickey, Matt's using the impact. The reviews on the Mickey Thompsons are, you can't beat them. Man, my hair is doing something. You can't beat them. Everyone who runs them loves them. They're also the cheapest name brand 35-inch mud terrain that's available right now. So all 5 reasons. They're also these are load range D, so somewhere between a C and an E, obviously for alphabet. So they're light, but they have a good sidewall. It's just, it checked all the blocks. Plus they're just classic. It's Mickey Thompson. We're building a classic looking truck. That's why we're doing the machined wheels, not polished wheels with the black lip. We're going classic look. So polished on this thing, classic look. The wheels that came off of it were polished wheels as well. So yeah, let me get to, I have no idea what I'm doing today to this thing because I don't know my time frame. I believe my next step is going to be making plates for the frame. So I'm going to start on that and show you how I do it. And then we'll go from there. Now that the mic's working, I can set you up on a tripod. It doesn't matter what noise is going on. I can talk you through my process. So here we go. And I remembered my tripod today, so I'm not having to set you up on the welder or the plasma cutter. All right, so what I do is, obviously we clean the frame off, and then I'm gonna come up here with a piece of cardboard. We're gonna slap it against it. I'm gonna Sharpie mark it. I'm gonna make it by hand. I have a plasma table, I have a computer. I could make them out of CNC, but every one of them I do back here is different. It's a 100 series, it's a 1st gen, it's a 4th gen 4Runner, it's a Tacoma. So having the files and writing them honestly would take me longer than me just cutting them out by hand. And you can buy them online, but I'm not gonna buy something I can make. So let me try tracking down some cardboard around here that is big enough, and I'll be right back. Found me a box, courtesy of a rough country suspension kit for a Jeep. Can't see what I'm doing, but you'll see in a second. We're essentially just gonna make the box smaller. Template size. Yep, that piece will work. All right, so razor blade, rough country. We'll slap this bad boy up in here like this. Boom. I like to go from weld of like the body mount to the weld of the body mount. Gives you a good front and back. That way you're not like an awkward seam. You can hide your welds a little better. Just comes out better. So obviously that fits, so since I am a one-man band back here. Clamps. Clamp that side. Find a place that clamp will actually stay. Boom. There we go. You kind of see where it's going at. Sharpie. I've already got that bent, so we will mark that down. Boom, that's that line. I'll go underneath, mark the back side, take it off. We should be able to have the template for both sides nice and easy. And what's nice is I got the box on the other side, so that we can make this plate, and then when we take the box off and move the box, then all I have to do is mark my holes through my plate, and there you go. So I'm gonna take it down, I'll cut it up, I'll be back. For cutting them, cardboard around here, I have some snap-on scissors, but they're actually made by CRKT, Cricut, but essentially they're kitchen shears. So works really great for cutting cardboard. I've had these things for a few years and they're still sharp. So just come along. Cut along the Sharpie marks. Again, doesn't have to be super precise because we're gonna then transpose this over to the steel and then cut it out by hand with the plasma. So, all right, hold it up and see what we got. Boom. One outside frame plate. It honestly all feels great. I don't feel or see any high or low spots. So, boom, that is that. Let me check the other side real quick, but they are the same. Yep, all the same minus the steering box in the way up here. But we could go ahead and make the top plate here, but you're kind of guessing as to how high up this sits and welds and all the stuff. So I make this plate, I get it tacked on really good, and then I come back and make like my top and my bottom plates from there, just so we can make sure they all click together right. We still have to make this back plate here too. So along this right here, we will have some weld holes so you can weld the center of the plate. You just have to be careful of where your holes are because you already have holes in the frame. So if you had a hole that like half overdid the hole, it kind of looked like crap. So we know right about there needs to be a hole. So we can go ahead and mark that guy. So there needs to be a hole there. We can put a hole there. As you can see, I'm just holding it down where it needs to go. You can double check. Hole there. Hole there. You guys are getting the idea of what we're doing here. And then back here, where we have our frame number, I don't like to cover that up. No particular reason why. I mean, honestly, on something this old, it doesn't really matter. But what we can do is give ourselves an idea of where it is. And I pretty decent at getting around it by hand. And I always leave a good gap around it too, so it's, you'll see a second. All right. good enough. And then we're just gonna freehand the rest of it. Boom. There. That actually needs to go down a little bit. Something like that. I'll actually cut this out with a razor blade. I'll be right back. All right. Kind of ripped it, but it'll be all right. Boom. Get the idea what we're going for there. There you go. So we'll lay this down on some metal and cut it out. The other side does not have the stamp on it, but I believe it has the raised section. It does. So quick test. Obviously it fits. It has the raised section. It doesn't have the letters, but we'll make the left and the right look the same. And you can also kind of stitch weld that up too, so adds a little more bracing back there. Let me find a piece of metal and we'll get to cutting. I take that back. Jesse and Daisy just showed up, so I got to work on that GX460, and I'll be back whenever I can. All right, so it's the afternoon. It is almost closing time. I'm gonna try knocking these out really quick. Everyone's gone for the day. Even Jill's getting ready to roll. So I've got the metal set up here on the alignment rack. Let me show you how I'm laying this out. So it's a piece of scrap 3/16 I have here. We've got this laid out here. I just have a wrench to hold the cardboard down because the fan there is blowing on it. All my holes, again, they don't have to be super exact, so I just have my knife dug out into the middle of them like that. We'll trace around the outside and the inside there, then go through and just mark the holes, and then we'll use the plasma cutter to cut everything out and get you on the stand and show you that. All right, so plasma cutter, you can see, have the guard on the end of it so we can just slam it down on the metal and won't get too close. We'll cut it out. now what I do is I put some gloves on and we'll grind all those edges down so they're smoother, and that's one side. All right, so there it is, all ground up. This is the back side, I already test fit it and all that stuff, so we're only gonna steel it the back side. So, quick blast on it. All the overspray just coats the axle. Let that dry for about 30 seconds, and then I will clamp it up to the frame and be back. All right, so all ground down, all the edges and stuff. When you're cutting it by hand, it's gonna be a little wavy, but what we can just do with the grinder is kind of knock the highs and the lows really close to each other. You're coming along the edges anyways and welding, so it's not super critical that the lines have to be razor straight, but get them as close as you can. Same thing with your holes. I cut them out by hand with the plasma. You can see they're not all perfectly round, but by the time you come back in here and you fill those edges out, they look round in the end. Save yourself some time. You could sit here and drill holes, but it ain't a SEMA truck. Well, it's probably better than a SEMA truck if you've seen SEMA vehicles, but it's not a show truck. So yeah, I think from here, we're just gonna tack this on. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Leave down in the comments if you think I'm doing something wrong, if you think I'm doing something right, how this mic is working out here, and if you like this or not. Appreciate you guys. Bye. Why are you still here? Go find another YouTube video.